Dear beloved viewers, welcome back. We are discussing a second condition on zakatability of business assets. And we said it is completion of a year, haul. But what is this haul? The first view says that the zakatable business assets should have completed the nisab by the end of the year. So you choose your business year. If your business year is January to December, if your business year is June to May, your business year is Hijriya, which could be Ramadan, ila Sha'ban, or whatsoever. So whatever the year you choose, we look at the end of the year, the 12th month. At the completion of the 12th month is the value of your business have attained the nisab. Is it equal to nisab or above? If so, you pay zakat. If it's not, you don't pay zakat. And we don't look at the issue of ups and downs between January to February to May to July. Maybe we look at the end of the year, and the value at the end of that particular year is the basis of zakat rate. We apply our zakat rate based on the value of the zakatable business assets at that moment. The second view says that nisab must be maintained throughout the year. Throughout the year, from January to December, the nisab must be maintained. It should be the value of the zakatable business assets should be above or equal to nisab. January, February, there should be no moment where it went down. So this requires proper valuation of the business each month almost. Every month you have to ascertain whether your business assets, zakatable assets, have achieved the nisab or they have gone below the nisab level, so that you keep proper accounting of the zakat year. If you can't do that, you can't maintain that, then definitely you cannot follow this view, because this view requires somebody who is keen to record and evaluate a zakatable business asset periodically. Each month you have to value your zakatable assets to see whether they're still on the nisab level or below nisab level. So this is a second view that requires throughout the year the nisab should be maintained. The last view, the third view, is if you can't do that, then we simply use another view which requires nisab to be attained at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year. So we simply look at January. Is the business zakatable assets value in January, are they equal to nisab and above? The answer is yes. Then we know that we are likely to be paying zakat for that period. But the final decision will be based on December. So we look at December, end of the year. So the end of the year we look again, and if we see still above the nisab or equal to nisab, then you pay zakat. We disregard looking at the movements of the value of zakatable assets during the period here in between. Simply look at the beginning. Nisab has been achieved, attained. Yes, and we look at also the end of the year. Nisab has been attained. And then, if so, zakatable. But if at the beginning of the year we have not achieved nisab, but at the end of the year we have achieved nisab, according to this view, you don't pay zakat according to this view. But according to the first view, they said we look only at the end, not at the beginning. So based on the first view, you can pay zakat. What do I recommend and what I see practical is the third view of looking at the beginning and looking at the end. And as I said, whatever you pay extra is for you. There is no harm of paying extra. But if you want to be very accurate, then you will have to follow the second view, which said that nisab must be maintained throughout the year. Okay, and that requires you to keep your records, to value your zakat business assets regularly, so that we become very accurate in what we are calculating. But if we want and we know for sure whatever we give forward, excess in zakat, seeking Allah's pleasure, we will find it multiplied before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in that regard, you will have fulfilled your zakat obligation and Allah will reward you accordingly. So these are the three views we have on this particular issue of hawl. And as I said, I normally advise those who come to me for zakat advisory, if they can be able to evaluate their zakat monthly and be able to establish balances, we'll go with the first view, with the second view. But if not, then we adopt this one view. We must adopt one view. We should not be like, like playing around, Today you are in this view, tomorrow you are in another view. No, you have to stick to one standard, one view, okay, and follow it for your business, for your zakat calculations. Don't be playing around here and there. Find one of the view, stick to it for your zakat calculation. If you're using silver standard, use silver standard. Okay. If you're using gold standard, use gold standard. Okay. If you're going to consider this, any of these three views, use one of them. Okay, and keep it and maintain consistency. Okay, in your zakat calculation. The other point I want to bring to your attention is the rate. How much do you pay? Okay, in business assets. The rate is the same as the one that we pay for cash and near cash. And this is if you are zakatable year. If you consider your calculations for zakat, you follow Hijriya calendar, then you pay 2.5%. 2.5%. But if you consider, okay, to you, your calculation, you close your books, okay, following January, December, Miladiya calendar, okay, then you will have to pay 2.577, which comes to around 2.58. Why? Simple. The reason is the Hijriya calendar has fewer days compared to the Miladiya. 12 lunar months are equivalent to around 354 days. Whereas the other year is above that, is around 365 to 366. So that's why the zakat rate for Miladiya is slightly, not very much higher, slightly higher by just 0.08%. So it is about 2.58. 2.58 is the zakat rate if you follow Miladiya. And this is very important. And I keep saying this is a very important concept, which unfortunately I don't hear it much spoken by some of our scholars in this region. We assume that everyone keeps his financial records following Hijriya calendar. We are not in Arab countries, okay? We are in these other countries, other parts of the world, where people are much more familiar, given the tax authorities, the reporting period for taxation, and so on. It is January to December, among others. People have considered that as their zakat period. During the same period, when they close their books, okay, in December, that's when they establish how much to pay as a tax, okay, and also how much to pay as zakat. So in this case, they have to use 2.58, not 2.5 that is normally repeated, while that might not be the case for everyone. Not everybody follows the Hijriya calendar in his zakat calculations, among others. So that is also an important aspect. Now we come to the issue of what is the business zakatable assets. You know, in business, there's so many things. There are fixed assets. There are current assets. You go there, you see there are long-term liabilities. Then you see there are short-term liabilities. Then you have shareholders' funds. That's the balance sheet. How do we determine zakatable assets? Well, this could be a long discussion. Business takes varieties of shapes and forms today. They could be simple businesses, if you look at their books, and there are others are quite complex. But we'll start with a simple business for today's session. This is a business that is very simple. Somebody has, number one, he has his shop, or has his office. Okay? In that office, he has some fixed assets, some furnitures, some laptops, maybe telephone devices, maybe this and that. Fixed assets. These are things that he uses for the business operations, not for selling. Okay? Most of the business have this kind of assets. Could be even the frames and the shelves. These are fixed assets, not for selling. Then you have now cash. Cash is what is called blood in business. Is the blood for any business. Cash. If you were starved in cash, your business could be facing challenges. So cash is another asset that is there in most of the business. It's cash. And also, there are commodities. If it is mechanized, then you find some goods that this mechant either produce, okay, manufacture, or you find it is something that has already been produced. He's just reselling them. He gets it maybe from Dubai, gets it maybe from Turkey, Saudi, maybe he gets it from China, wherever. He buys them, they are ready, he sells them. So these are goods ready for resale. These are also another kind of asset that could be there. Another asset that could be there are short-term debtors. Some people maybe give them cash, or maybe give them, he sold certain goods on credit. So he has some debtors as well. These are also some assets. But on the other side, there is a possibility of maybe he was financed by an Islamic bank, or he was given a loan by a friend or a family member. So that forms the category of liabilities, among others. So what are zakatable assets in this simple business? Number one, and this is just a quick one, we will come back to this in the coming episode. We'll say that in this simple scenario, you find quickly cash is a zakatable asset, goods for resale are zakatable assets, then the debtors the value of the debt that he holds is also zakatable. So we will come back in this discussion about these business assets and look into them into details in the coming episode. But I believe in today's session, you got a glimpse of what are the business zakatable asset for simple business. Until we meet again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.